Well, I'm going to suggest we start a meditation as normal and just have a bit of a settling in. I mean, covering Hajratna there covered a lot of ground in a quite interesting way, particularly introducing the sort of volitional aspect, the wishing aspect of this practice. And I think this practice is vulnerable to a great deal of misunderstandings. And just for my own benefit, I'm just going to pull up my own notes, which I'm just going to show to myself. Okay. My own experience with this practice was I needed to get out of my head. And I used to find myself kind of using the phrases, but in a rather harsh way almost, a pushing kind of way. And one of the lessons I learned was that I needed to, in a way, allow my awareness to settle lower down in my body. So we're going to have a go at doing that for a bit. I was going to just suggest another couple of things. There are things which creep in with our practice, which are to do with our cultural conditioning. One is that out there in society, it's important that we do what we're supposed to do. And very often we have a job description or a task description to follow and so on. And it's important that we actually do what we are supposed to do. And we can bring that attitude to bear with our practice, that we try to do what we are supposed to do. And that can lead to inner conflict and even a sense of failure. And connected to that is the whole underlying, it's almost a kind of personal myth that we all want to be a success. And the trouble with being a success is that it's very close to the feeling of failure. So the Mettā Bhavana can become infected with a bit too much pushing and then a sense of failure. So it's just being alert to those underlying tendencies. And in a way, what we're going to do is become aware really of, well, how we are. You know, are those the sort of things that go on? Is this how we function? So personally, I must admit I don't use the phrases. I spend far more attention. I'm going to encourage you to do this as well. To, in a way, get out of my head and settle into a whole body awareness. And one metaphor I found personally quite helpful was to imagine that instead of looking out through the normal place where my eyes are, I imagine that I'm looking out through my heart. I imagine my eyes are right down in the center of my body, as it were. And they're looking out through my heart, and in a way see what the world looks like from that sort of heart-centered place. But of course, often it takes quite a bit of time to settle down out of the sort of being in one's head. And part of that sometimes is just we have an experience that we don't particularly enjoy, and we want to get out of it. But all of that really just leads to the wheel of life. If we're not careful with this practice, we can be wanting an experience we don't have, and be pushing for an experience we'd rather have. And all we do is go round and round the wheel. I have got a railway line around the back of here, so if you're picking up any strange noises, there's a train going by at the moment. We're settling our awareness into our whole breathing body, noticing a sense of alive connectedness to the floor, the meditation cushion, to the seat. Hatharatna was making the connection with the Mettā Bhavana and karma. And so when we sit down to meditate, in the way we greet, we come into awareness with the karmic consequences of our previous actions. So there could be all sorts of little residual feeling tones and knotty things and turbulences and unsettlednesses and anxieties and so on. So as we settle into our body, becoming just aware of that as being present with our overarching awareness. We're going to spend a fair bit of time doing this, simply settling into how we are right now. There's our wish to meditate, our intention to practice cultivating metta, and then there's everything that's currently held in the body from our day. And there's also something that we need to have some confidence in, which is that our awareness will change over the course of the practice. So the kind of way of being with ourselves at the beginning is different to how it is towards the end of the practice. So at this stage, as we're settling down, we need to be, in a way, quite alert to all of the different processes and feelings and things that are still resonating there in us. As we settle down into our heart's view of the world, and I'm noticing whether there's feelings of hurt, whether there's joy, freedom, connection. Sadness. And as soon as we begin to connect with metta, we can also find that we're experiencing compassion, sympathetic joy, equanimity. Our heart may be feeling sad with the suffering of the world. And we bring a sense of metta to that. And within the way I approach this practice, I also bear in mind that whenever somebody comes to mind, that is a thought form from within my own mind. And if there's somebody I find difficult, well, then in a way I have an inner conflict with my own memory or thought form of that person. So my aim is to recreate harmony internally so that there's no sense of pushing away an uncomfortable feeling, tone, or thought. Likewise with a friend or someone I long to be with, there can be a sense of craving for their company. And that's a thought form too. So all within your own awareness. So the stages of the practice, each in a way has their own particular quality. And it's just worth saying that pleasant, neutral, and unpleasant, or good friend, the neutral person, and person who's difficult, are really taking a sample from the world of all human connections to make sure that you engage metta with everything, every experience that's either pleasant, neutral, or unpleasant. So in a sense, nothing is left out. Everything comes into contact with the wish that people be well, happy, free from suffering, and progress on the path. So my own approach to the first stage of the practice is simply to settle into a strong sense of awareness of here and now. An awareness that can hold all that's going on in my life and respond to that with loving kindness. Always checking, looking out through the heart at how the sort of central part of myself, how the central part of the body, how it is, what the world looks like from there, what the world feels like from there. If you find yourself distracted, it can be quite an idea to bring the felt sense, the whole embodied felt sense of that distraction into the practice, close to your heart, and wish that whole aspect of yourself well. And we're going to spend a few minutes aware of a friend, or in a way allowing any friend to come to our awareness who needs our metaphor response at the moment. In a way, we're recalling a memory of a friend, or a felt sense, or a general impression of them. In a way, we're sensitive to our felt relationship, what the feeling tone is with that memory or impression. And we're really for them. You know, we wish that they would live happily, be well, free from suffering, progress. And to bring them into our heart, bring them close. At the same time, being sensitive to what's going on, what responses there are. Whatever they are, responding to those with metta. and allowing other impressions of people we know to come to awareness. Whatever emerges, whatever comes to us, bringing that close, responding to that with well-wishing, and wishing them well. At the same time, being sensitive to what responses are triggered. More and more feeling interconnected. Or I should say, noticing qualities of interconnection with all living beings, whether they are pleasant, neutral, or unpleasant. Noticing the difference between thinking about someone and being with your impression of them. And having a soft, settled, overarching awareness that can contain and hold all of this sense of interconnection, a sense of difficulty, of love, of pleasure, of joy, all of these impressions, connections. And also remembering that we are including each other. There is other people there wishing you well, wishing you happiness, freedom from suffering, progress on the path. And we're all including each other. So at this stage in our practice, things have become quite subtle and settled and more sensitive. Matching our energy, the energy we're putting in, to the subtlety of our awareness. Perhaps opening to the colour of metta, or to the sound of metta, or even the perfume. And just sitting for a few minutes, letting go of effort, being present here with this unfolding experience.